Coming at you live from my home studio in beautiful La Puente, California. This is the All Dodgers podcast. Welcome to All Dodgers Live. Welcome to Thirsty Thursday stream. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. I pushed that button instead of the other button because I was going to do the big screen. But you guys see producer Kevin here on the screen. You can see his name now on the screen because he's a real boy, I decided. But
real boy.
all this to say, this is part of the Believe network of podcasts, at least for now. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about all that money for early season mid from these Dodgers. We're going to dive into them, Dodgers' recent inconsistencies, particularly in the lineup, but also on pitching, all that kind of stuff. Less pitching on the show, more lineup, and we're going to try to pinpoint a few of those issues. And we'll ask, should the Dodgers consider a lineup shakeup already just for fun? Because why not? I think the sky is falling at this point in the show. I already said Kevin's name. He is our fine producer slash a guy I sneakily roped in to be a co-host on this show on Thursdays. I am Clint Pasillas. Guys, find me as Real FRG on the Twitter, on the Instagram. Please consider subscribing here to the channel. We're approaching 7,000 subs. That's pretty cool. If we can get there, I will do a show without a hat. That's all I got. Once we hit 7,000 subscribers, people always want me to, whenever I do anything without my hat on, people are like, I didn't know you have hair. And I was like, I mean, I have a little still, like it's still there, but guys.
Oh, I got a show flow for both of us.
Show flow. He does have a good show flow. And if you guys are listening to this podcast, one, I'm sorry, but if it's on Apple, on Spotify, I know you can rate the show on those channels, so or on those platforms. So let's do that. But let's jump into the chat. Mr. Kevin, how is your evening going? I know you got started on the Thirsty Thursday a little bit earlier. He is on Chicago time.
I did. So my fiance found a local sports bar called Over Under. Shout out to them. We're not sponsored by them, but hey, Over Under, if you're out there, shoot me an email. We can, your people, talk to my people.
Email him. It's clint@alldodgers.com.
Exactly. See, my name is also Clint when I need it to be.
Yes, sir.
And they were doing a shoot for a show about Chicago, and they had free drinks until 6 o'clock. So we imbibed a little bit until then. But besides that, I came home, made myself a Tom Collins, and we're here. We're here. You know, get used to it.
Yeah, we're here. We're going to have a good time talking about the Dodgers, who are, they're kind of frustrating right now, but that's fun. That's what makes this kind of stuff fun. We knew, despite
winning is boring.
Winning is kind of boring from time to time, and despite committing $1.3 million to this roster over the next 10 years and parts of them more, it doesn't guarantee wins. It does not guarantee everything is perfect. We knew the start of the season was going to be a bit of a struggle. Maybe not this much, but they still have a one-game lead over the San Diego Padres down there in Los Angeles South, we'll call it. Jenny Vega's in the stream. Good to see you, Jenny. Welcome back. I know she's been busy. Noah Ortega is in the chat. Thank you for hanging out with us as always. Noah says, I hate days off. Anyways, hi, Clint Nation. What is going on, Noah? I would say, and I said it earlier, on Dodgers territory, if you guys don't know that, I host another show alongside Alana Rizzo on Foul Territory. Check it out. I'll promote it again later on in the show. But this could not have been a more well-timed day off. Man, did this team need it in the worst way. Just feels to me, and Kevin, I don't know if you could attest to this or if you feel somewhat the same. Feels like the fun of the early season has kind of just worn off, or the excitement of it all.
So I don't know how many of our viewers are avid fantasy football drafters, but it felt like the first week and a half was definitely that first week after you've drafted your team where the offense just goes crazy. You score like 140 points. You're like, oh man, my team feels great. And then the next week you look at the like injury list and you go, Joe Burrow's injured. Jamar Chase is injured. My running back's injured. My
heads are falling
playing
off.
The Rams, who have, for whatever reason, scored 40 points the week before, and you lose your mind. But it's definitely, in the last couple years, the most welcome off day during a homestand I've ever seen. Thursday couldn't come fast enough. for the home team, which is bad to say, but it's also April, so get into it later, but like, who cares?
Yeah, we got a lot more potential pain and shame to be coming over the next few months. But importantly, goodly, as people say, they're going to be getting healthier, knock on desk, over the next X amount of months. Peter Pandam, or Pandam, if you want to say it right, says, oh my God, other major league teams are competing with the Dodgers. WTF, they can't lose. Damn, that's a really good point. Thank you, Peter. I'm going to give that one a coin because I enjoy that. Enjoy the humor. Diane Schroeder's in the chat. Appreciate you. Diane says, hit that like button on the way in. Jenny Vegas says, hit that like button. Hell, I'll push the... Oh, I don't have it on the screen here. And this one, I did not set up this one. So I'm going to go to that screen. And boom, now you guys can see the little subscribe in there. You got any comments you're seeing before we jump into the fun and excitement of the good, the bad, and the mid?
Yeah, good, bad, and the mid. Also, it's Jenny Vega's birthday, according to Jenny.
Really? Yeah. Let's go. Happy birthday, Jenny. I don't know why you're hanging out with us on a Thirsty Thursday on your birthday, but we will celebrate in honor of you. We'll say salud and shalom and
Feliz cumpleaños.
And also that, because why not? BC's in the chat. Carnivorous Sooner Activity is in the chat. What is going on? Let's see. Maybe Peter Pandam is actually a troll. I don't know, but
that's it. What do they got?
When I said calling San Diego LA South because I just said it, they said small PP energy. So
yeah,
hell yeah, that's what's up.
Clint, feed the trolls because it's good.
I'm down. Yeah, I mean, just
good for content.
Sometimes you just got to let it eat. But guys, let's get into the meat of the show. This is the good, the bad, and the mid, because that's what I decided to title this segment. Well, you lose a series to the Nationals. You never want to lose a series to the Nationals, but the Dodgers have kind of gotten pretty good at losing series to the Nationals over the last few years. I think it's, 4 of the last 5 series to the Nats they have lost, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Does that count 2019?
We don't talk about 2019 anymore. That's like Bruno, man. You don't talk about 2019. But I predicted on Monday's stream, if you happen to see it later, Mr. Kevin, or not, I predicted it was going to be a series that we were not going to enjoy. And I was right. It was not a fun series. It was fun in some ways. We got to see the Pages debut. You got to see Landon Knack figure it out on the spot and be pretty damn good and look like, hey, you know what? These Dodgers know what they're doing when they're drafting dudes. But the question I have is like all that money for early season mid, because you have that first shutout of the year on Wednesday, the first since I think it was June or July of last year. Dodgers are 5-7 in their last 12, losers of 3 of their last 4 series. Is this concerning? And I will open by saying I'm not panicking yet. The Dodgers were not going to stay on a 116-win pace, not with the early season pitching woes they've had. But what do you think? Go ahead, give me a think. What do you think? Give me thoughts on that real quick. Go ahead.
Sounding a little Chicken Little over there. A little bit of the sky is falling. No, not panicking whatsoever. We talked about this a little bit before we hit live and said happy birthday to Jenny. But the Dodgers this time last year, they were 10-11. They were actually below 500 this time last year. And this was coming off that weird series or like setup where they played the Diamondbacks 7 of their first 10 games. And the Diamondbacks just robbed them blind on the base paths. It's at that time, I remember thinking to myself, this is not what it's going to look like come August and September. Lo and behold, it didn't. It didn't look like that because the Diamondbacks didn't need to rob them on the base paths. They just, hit the ball out of the park and scored, 5 and 6 runs in the first inning. Not to draw too many comparisons, but the point being, it's so early. They won 100 games last year. They were below 500 at the 21 game mark. So the Dodgers notorious for using the early season as the longest extended spring training.
Yeah, with last year, the big change, of course, or the big difference there was they had not just signed Shohei Ohtani. They had not just signed Yoshinobu Yamamoto, James Paxton, traded for Tyler Glasnow. No, they let a whole bunch of talent walk away, actually, with Cody Bellinger, with Trey Turner, with insert other names here. And now all of a sudden it's looking like, again, I'm not panicking, but this is just not what people hoped for or expected at this point in the season. But, that's just how baseball kind of operates. That's what it does best.
In
steal your
2022,
soul.
they were 14-7. They were a game and a half better, 2 games better, maybe. It's not like these teams were world beaters early. They're just not. It's not how they build teams. And also letting Cody Bellinger go. I love Belly, but
he's hitting what? He's hitting like 180 right now, by the way.
He had a home run earlier today, and they just postponed today's game to 420, so he's gonna go off on a doubleheader on 420.
This was definitely meant for him. Let's find some comments here. I see Francisco Verjan or Verjan, if you want to say it wrong, says, I'm not concerned, but I'm frustrated. These are games you're supposed to win. These are teams you're supposed to demolish. Agree, disagree?
Yes, you're supposed to beat these teams, but also it's so early in the season. Some teams think they have hope and they play up to their potential. And then, after the trade deadline, when they're, fourth in the NL East, they just go, eh. And if the Dodgers play them, then they sweep them, no problem. So I'm not concerned.
Yeah, we knew at this point. I think I said it for a good chunk of the offseason. Don't worry about the first couple of months. They're going to be figuring some things out. That is what they kind of do, and that's what this season was going to be, despite all of the additions and things. If everybody was healthy, they would still have a bunch of things to figure out. They would have, good problems to have instead of kind of where they find themselves, but that's just the way it is. Austin Lambert's hanging out with us, by the way. He's just finished his first day with working at AMR Ambulance, so couldn't have gone better. So cheers to Austin. I almost pushed the boo button, but instead I'll do that because our guy Austin's out there getting paid. But so important. Peter Pondam says it is pronounced like Jean-Claude Van Damme. So appreciate you hanging out with us despite all the small PP energy. But what do you got for us over there, Mr. Kevin?
No, Noah had a great comment. Lux is like a crazy ex. We keep on changing who we are just to keep him in the lineup. Unfortunately, he ain't the hitter we fell in love with. And then Richard Flores, at this rate, we may or may not need to get like a plaque or like a statue. He dropped a $9.99
super chat. Let's go, Richard Flores. What you got for us?
Saying giving CT3 the green light to swing away on Monday with a 3-0 count was a great idea. Sincerely, skydiving without a parachute and booking a cruise on the Titanic. Fuck the Ghost Runner.
Oh,
R.I.P.
Oh, that's pretty good. Always appreciate my guy out there in Devore, California, Mr. Richard Flores, a regular at Dodger Stadium, by the way. I think I've seen him out there. Probably didn't greet him, but next time we will meet when we're at Dodger Stadium there. Let's see what we got here. Carnivorous Interactivity says Otani must think he's still in Anaheim. I don't know if you saw somebody tweeted. I think one of the Angels fan accounts tweeted funny ass comments like the Dodgers are wasting Otani's best years. So that was just like
I saw that. It was like Otani goes 3 for 4 with 2 doubles. Dodgers lose 2-0. I was like, that's hilarious. The Dodgers deserve it. That's just so funny. I love that.
Neil Casimoto says last game Dodgers 9 Ks, only 5 hits, 0 runs. They're second in the league in Ks. Strikeouts definitely a big concern. And when you have a few dudes pushing 50% strikeout rates with guys like Chris Taylor and guys like Max Muncy maybe more so kind of a concern there. The production is really good. The OPS plus, weighted runs created plus, whichever one you prefer, is really good. But the strikeouts are definitely concerning because at some point in time, the good teams are going to take advantage of something like that, particularly in October. Francisco also bringing up the Michael Busch. Wasn't going to talk too much Michael Busch unless we needed something at the end, but Mikey is hat tip to Michael Busch. He is going off.
So happy for him.
He had that streak, the stretch of homering in 5 games, which is insane, and he's proven to the world, I was ready all of this time, but at the same time, you can't play him at first. One of the things that's really helped him is that, and I think I guess we can call him colleague Ken Rosenthal with Foul Territory, Fair
Yeah,
Territory, his
there we
show.
go.
He had mentioned one of the things that's good. Maybe it wasn't him, but I'll still shout out Ken Rosenthal because he's awesome. They had mentioned that what's good for Bush is that they're not trying to play him anywhere else. He's very clearly a defensive limited player. He's very clearly a first baseman. Put him there, leave him there. You could not do that in Los Angeles because Freddie Freeman is still a dude that exists and also usually does pretty well. So
yeah, like I saw a tweet that was like, "Oh, we bet on the wrong person, bringing back." I think it was like Kike or Jay.
It's my favorite time of the year. Whenever that
and
shit
it was
happens.
just for me, it's like. Michael Bush can't play the outfield. They tried. It didn't work. They could play him at first base or DH. We have Shohei Ohtani or Freddie Freeman. Sorry to Michael Bush. He's been great, but he's not Freddie Freeman or Shohei Ohtani. At this point, he could be. Who knows? I could be eating crow in like 4 or 5 years.
So, that's all I got.
And part of it, too, is he's getting consistent at bats, finally, which is what he's earned it. Like, he slugged. He crushed AAA pitching. He earned the right.
He did what he's done at AAA. Now he's doing it against Major League hitters, which we always assumed he would do. I spoke with our friend of the show, friend of the stream, friend of the channel, Casey Porter of Dodgers Daily here on YouTube. If you guys don't follow him, give him a follow. Give him and Austin follow. They do a lot of great work over there daily, talking about your Dodgers. But one of the things he told me was in his years of watching him at Tulsa, watching him at OKC, was this is a guy that's kind of notoriously a slow starter, but once he gets going, once he gets into his rhythm and finds his rhythm, he will take off. Did not have that opportunity in Los Angeles, was never going to have that opportunity in Los Angeles. So hat tip to Michael Bush for doing well, and we hope a lot of success to that dude. The Dodgers are going to feel for a while, Dodgers fans for a while are going to feel like they lost that trade, but at some point in time, we will see the trade piece there with what is it, Jackson Ferris?
Jackson Ferris. So yeah, that was the big. I remember there was a couple. Being in Chicago, I listened to a few Cubs podcasts or like some news pundits, and they actually were really surprised that the Cubs gave up Jackson Ferris for Michael Bush. They said that price might have been a little too high because they were high on Jackson Ferris himself. Mm-hmm. They thought he was the best left-hander. They have Justin Steele, obviously, who just came up the last year, and now there was Jackson Ferris kind of waiting the wings.
Well, I mean, he's still, at least as a Dodger, he's still like a year or two away, maybe 2 or 3 years away. Yes. So the Cubs knew they were kind of going a little bit of win now. They had that clear opening at first because they've been struggling to fill it since trading away Anthony Rizzo. So they got themselves a decent one there. Maybe a good one.
I think so too. I just think it was because I didn't follow the Cubs too much last year, but when I saw like every Cubs, reporter, pundit saying like, oh, they gave up Jackson Ferris, that kind of keyed me into what are we looking at? And a lot of them said he could be one of the best, if not the best left-hander in minor league baseball in a couple years. So the Cubs didn't give up nothing for him. They gave up a little something.
And don't sleep on Zaire Hope being probably a trade piece for the Dodgers down the road.
No, he's Shohei Ohtani 2.0. What are you talking about?
Oh, that's right. IB Strokin's in the chat. We got more folks hanging out in the chat. Mr. Craig Osterberg for hanging out with us is also hanging out with us. Appreciate you. Roy Estrada's in the chat. Always appreciate seeing Roy's name in here. Peter Pandam is back in the chat saying, and I will say I agree with the sentiment here that Peter is saying. Mr. Pete, I'm going to call him Pete, says, I don't think you got to bring the Padres up when the Dodgers got their own issues. I pushed the button, apparently, by switching here. But unless it's like a rivalry or something, he didn't mean to offend. I'm not offended. It's all good. It's all fair and loving YouTube or whatever. But I don't even remember why we brought up the Padres.
I don't think we brought up the Padres once.
I said something about San Diego earlier, and that became a whole thing. No, we are all good, guys. No more oral sex says you got to hit the like button, by the way. But how about we actually get into that was all the preface, that was all the setup, that was all the lead in into the good, the bad, and the mid, the good. Let's talk about good because it does feel very often like I tend to lean negative. You have to lean negative on the internet for things to do well. And when the team is not doing all that hot, it's easy to go negative. But how about Marcus Lynn Betts? Because Mookie Betts is on a tear. He's back being hot after being just kind of, he was on like the warming tray, but they threw him back on the oven. Goes 5 for 5 this week. He's hitting .369 on the year. Leads Major League Baseball with a 2.1 baseball ref, a B WAR at the moment. Dude is looking really freaking good. You also do worry, though. I guess I'm already going to turn good into something bad or something worry. You do worry at some point about him maybe wearing out a little bit. He is playing a lot of baseball. Granted, the team does have at least like one day off baked in each week in the skeleton, the calendar and the schedule, so that has been helped. But Mookie Betts on an absolute tear. I think the Dodgers have like 5 wins if Mookie Betts is not on this team, is not in this lineup, and he's looking very, very good at shortstop. We'll talk shortstop in a second, but anything stand out for you numbers wise or eye test wise for Mookie Betts offensively?
Honestly, from an eye test wise, he looks the same. He just looks a little bit more locked in, like he's done what he's done. He takes that first pitch strike, and then the at-bat really starts, and he's just putting the ball in play. He's using all fields, not to sound like Dave Roberts, but the compete is there. He just looks a little bit more focused. I'm not super worried about the games played. He played 152 games last year, 142 games in 2022. I think 2022, he had like a small stint, not on the IL, but like he was, I think he was dealing with a little bit of like the hip issue was in 2022. That's right. So he dealt a little bit with that. And then 2021, 122 games. This is a guy that plays all the time. I'm not worried about his playing time. Shortstop, second base. I think he's got that, Chris Taylor doesn't do anything wrong. He hasn't done anything right, but he's got that dog in him. Mookie Betts has got a little bit of that in him. And to kind of segue this is Roy Estrada with the $9.99 super chat.
I saw that.
Says bat Muncy ninth. He's kind of line up over, hits better with no runners on base. Turn that ball over to Mookie Betts. There's a
little bit of smoke to that, to be honest.
There is, but what's crazy is Mookie Betts is tied for 4th in MLB with RBI. So
right. Well, let's pin that. Let's pin that because we're going to talk about the lineup shakeup a little bit later. But I like the way we're thinking there. Appreciate Roy Estrada for the $9.99 super chat. I see another super chat, by the way, $10 super chat from Matty Man 5 Dodge. Always appreciate. Also, Matty Man 5 Dodge following over from the other channel. My former employer says Clint, good judge of talent. Kevin is great, and you know what? We don't praise people. Oh wait, no. I get to praise people. Hey,
you
Kevin,
do.
Good job.
You do.
I can. Kevin, you're doing a bang up job. You, despite being an obvious rabid lush, you're doing a bang up job on the show here. Let's see. Let's get back into the good because I want to talk about Michael Grove for a second. And yes, I am saying Michael Grove's name while we're talking about the good.
What's Michael Grove's middle name?
Michael.
We got Michael.
China.
We got Marcus.
It's China. It's Michael China Grove. Whoa.
No.
China Grove.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the Doobie Brothers or the Almond Brothers? Which brothers is that?
That is the Doobies. Show me Doobies. Love me some Doobies. But anyways, Grover, hear me out on this one. Is looking good. He's settling into a role which is kind of crazy because everybody was like, no, this is a guy that can only go 1 inning and then he's trash. Just send him to the moon. Maybe once or twice. I was in that category as well, but the numbers still look bad. What I'm looking at right now is the FIP, the fielding independent, pitching ERA 2.6. He is unscored upon in 4 of his last 5 outings. Looking pretty good. And again, settling into a role, kind of helping this bullpen and being the right-handed complement to Ryan Yarbrough when they need him, giving them innings. That's over 10 innings, 2.6 ERA over his last 5 appearances. Pretty damn good in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Couple things about Michael Grove. First of all, according to Baseball Reference, he doesn't have a middle name. It's just full name Michael Grove.
Scandal. A white man without a middle name?
Yeah, some people don't have a middle name, but feel bad. He's looked really good. He has looked really good. And even that the one game against Chicago where he did give up 4 runs or 3 runs on April 5th, that game, the weather sucked that day.
Yeah,
it was
pretty bad.
That entire Cubs series, I said at the last stream, just throw it out the window. It is like it happened. We suffered through it. We'll just move on. He has looked really good. His slider has looked phenomenal. It's generating something along the lines like 34% whiff percentage.
Yeah, no, it's going
nasty.
nasty.
36. Don't want to do the guy injustice. 36%. My goodness.
Come on, now. What am I paying you for?
I know, right?
I mean, hold on. We'll get there. We'll get
there. It seems like they told him to scrap his four seam and he'll throw the cutter and sinker a little bit more often, which makes sense. He didn't have a great four seam to begin with. Now you have a cutter and a sinker that move opposite directions of his the cutter is going to move a little bit tighter to his slider, but you have the sinker that's going to move the opposite direction. And then you have a slider, which looks a little bit more like a sweeper in that regard. If you're trying to visualize it in your head, he's looked really good. But I think the biggest thing with him is he finally, I think, has a role. They're not going to say, hey, go start the game, get 3 innings, and we're pulling you out. They're saying, hey, we're going to use you for 1 inning, or maybe the day of, they're going to use you 2 or 3. You're going to be the bulk guy. And I think that's helped him a lot because he knows when to empty the tank, when not to.
Yeah.
When to, actually reserve a little bit for an up-down.
This is a guy who, Matty Man 5 Dodge says, by the way, Michael Bartholomew Grove. So we're going to do that. Officially anointed Bartholomew as the middle name.
Even if he doesn't like it.
But Grove is one of those guys, like most Dodgers prospects. He's very much a work in progress. Not all of them come up and are, we haven't had somebody come up that's been very, very good since Cody Bellinger. Really, it hasn't been anybody that I could think of. Well, who's come up? That's Will Smith, but even he's kind of had some ups and downs, but that has been good and sustained. There hasn't been that guy that I could think of. Do you have anybody? Exactly.
Gratterall looked good from the get-go. There was just concerns.
Yeah, but even
with his health.
That's kind of. I'm gonna give that a watch. It's a bullpen. One, he was a twin. He had already made his major league debut, and he was kind of rough in 21. It was not a pretty. It was an unpolished turd in some ways.
Dustin May looked really good coming up.
Yeah, but then he can't stay on the field.
Catman?
Wash. Listen.
The Catman looked great.
With the same vitriol people talk about Chris Taylor, I will tell you, having done two seasons of Blue Heaven where we had to talk about Tony Gonsolin a lot, people are not extremely high on Anthony Gonsolin, unfortunately. Friend of the show, I know the guy, have his number in my phone unless he changed it.
He changed it because you have his number.
He changed it because he didn't want to play. I didn't want to play Jackbox with me again, like we did all those years ago. But anyways, and we were talking about that. Martin says Bobby Miller. Bobby Miller still posted a 3.8 ERA last year, and
I just think Cody's an unfair example. The guy won Rookie of the Year and then won MVP.
Well, okay, then before that we can go Walker Buehler. Oh wait, and before that, I'm talking about that Seager. Before that, or I'm talking about the guys that come up and just absolutely take over a role. Even James Outman last year was your starting center fielder throughout the season, was the rookie of the month in April, March and April, and third in rookie of the year voting. But still, there were some issues there, and there's always going to be issues in baseball, but there hasn't been that guy that just kind of takes over. They're always going to be work in progresses, and none more right now, I would say, than Michael Grove, who is showing up and showing out and proving the Dodgers really do continue to know how to find and pick up some talent.
No, I want nothing but the best for Michael Grove, because I remember it was Michael Grove and Ryan Pepio. Pepio looked great at spots. Grove didn't get the shine. He didn't get the light shined on him, shown on him. I don't know the exact verbiage there.
Yeah,
shined did.
Yeah.
And so you always kind of, I at least for me, I always kind of push for him to exceed expectations. So when you see him come up one stint as a starter and then they send it back down, then he's a reliever the next time, then he's a long relief guy. I was just always hoping he could, or they could at least give him a role and then see how he does. And I think they've finally done that, and he's performing well, fingers, toes.
Well adjacent. Again, the ERA still not pretty, but gonna go. It's gonna get better. Or as long as he keeps performing the way he is, he's gonna be doing better. Guys, while we're here, if you want Michael Grove to get a better ERA, mash that thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe if you have not subscribed to the channel yet. I know a whole bunch of people do watch the channel still, but are not subscribed. So, well, I should say people watch the channel, but are not subscribed. It tells me on the analytics, and it's totally free to subscribe, and we are trying to get to 7,000 subscribers, and I will take my hat off for no reason. I decided, and the more happens, more clothing comes off.
People want shoeies, Clint.
People
want shoeies.
No, I will never. I told Doug that. I told him very, very affirmatively or something. I was like, I will never do a shoey. I'm not a monster. All right, let's get into the final good before we can start crapping on the team some more, even though we always kind of somewhat got to crap on the team in some way. But shortstop production has been pretty good. I said we would talk a little bit more about Mr. Marcus Lynn, Mookie Betts, but alongside him, while Mookie's been doing pretty damn good at shortstop, I'm not upset with what I'm seeing there. Also a work in progress at shortstop. Hey, Miggy Rowe has been holding it down offensively as at the shortstop position. Los Angeles Dodgers shortstops slashing .392 with a .437 on base and a .760 slug to over the first 21 games. Small sample size for sure, unless you're mad about the team being 3 games over 500 right now. But that's pretty cool that shortstop is not at all a problem, because there's a lot of problems elsewhere.
It's not at all a problem as long as those two guys are playing shortstop. Apparently, if Gavin Lux was playing there, it'd be a big problem. Just saying. I mean, even beyond that, Miggy has an 868 OPS if you account for his third base games, which he's played, I think, twice this year. I can't remember off the top of my head. 136 OPS plus. It's getting to a point, and this is dangerous to say, but it's getting to a point where you have to wonder if you platoon Miggy and Lux at shortstop and just keep Mookie at second, because that's what he wants. He's earning enough money, and he's proven that he can play second base really well. Like, the $360 million player should technically not be giving way to a guy who's in his last year of arbitration or second to last year of arbitration. You have to kind of wonder, maybe against left-handers, Miggy plays short, Mookie plays second like he wants. And then against right-handers, Lux plays short. Or sorry, invert that.
Yeah, like, I got you.
You see what I mean?
You got Miguel Rojas in there for sure.
Yeah,
or hear me out. Lux can play shortstop at AAA.
That's something where
no?
I think he does. You get to like this point in the year where he's struggled so much, and he's had to listen to so much from pundits, from
Shit, he's had to listen to so much from me over the last 5 years.
I didn't want to say it. You did it for me.
Trust me. Oh, I know. I've had long DM conversations with him before, explaining some of the takes, and I stand behind most of the takes that I've had, or my co-hosts have had over the years about Gavin Lux. But also, dude needs a mental up, and it's not like anybody wants this dude to do bad. We want him to do well, but sometimes in this business, people are going to talk about when you're not doing well, and you have to be able to kind of roll with those punches and deal with it however you do. Again, I love the kid. I think he's a fun player. I think he's very good in this clubhouse. I wouldn't say he's extremely far away from putting it together with the bat, but I know where he's doing it right now is, with the Dodgers at the major league level, it's probably more of a detriment to him than out of the big blinding lights of, LA. And now they're on their way to New York for a 3-game series, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Peter Pondam in the chat. Good friend of the show here always. First time you've seen the name here, but I like it. He's participating in the chat, bringing some good stuff, bringing his facts to the fight here. But Petey here says, if Lux isn't cutting it, you put Mookie at second, Rojas at shortstop, helps the defense, and apparently the offense. It's really simple. It is really simple. And it's not like they don't have another option with like Miguel Vargas, who can, kind of spell some players on the bench or whatever. You probably still open up more opportunity for Kike Hernandez and Chris Taylor on the infield because they're not cutting it defensively on the outfield or out in the outfield. We're going to talk about that right now. But I've been barking about that for a while. I think it's very, very simple that if you are not ready, if you're showing that you're not ready, your game is not complete when you are coming back from injury, then you are not ready to be an everyday starter at the big league level. They should have kept him in extended spring training. They should have just let him get right, feel right before bringing him back and plugging him in there at short. And like you said, I agree. Mookie very much wanted to be a second baseman. I think he's enjoying shortstop, and it's pretty apparent.
Yeah.
I think if he stays at shortstop, that gives him a massive edge in MVP voting. But either way, if he's bouncing back and forth up the middle, he's going to win the MVP, especially with numbers like this. But I think we got 3 more weeks of what we're seeing right now, and if somebody doesn't figure it out, if it's Lux, if it's CT, if it's Kike, somebody is not going to be on the active roster. It's most likely going to be a phantom IL or an option or something like that. But
I don't even think it's 3 weeks. I think this team or this organization has been a little bit more aggressive than they have been in years past.
That's fair.
Which I also think is a good thing. When we may or may not talk about Andy Pajes later, but they brought him up early in the year, whether or not it has to do with Jason Hayward's, depending on who you listen to or talk to. But with how aggressive they were with that move, they might not kind of stand for, as you stand for, not that harshly, but, Gavin Lux struggling as much as he is. It might only be like a week or so more before, we see a Trey Sweeney or somebody else comes up to fill that role, or they kick it to Miguel Vargas at second just to see what happens.
Yeah.
I know Diane Schroeder brought up this point, like Gavin Lux needs to stop bouncing it to first. JT bounced it to first all the time. I don't think it has anything to do with him bouncing it to first. It's just, it's never on time. It even if he bounced it, if he threw it, he overthrew it. If he bounced it, it wasn't on time. It wasn't there. So I don't think it has to do with that. I just think his timing's all screwed up. And I love the kid. I was huge on him in 2021. I was texting my friends when he got hurt in 2023 that it was arguably the 3rd worst injury to the entire team. Like, I thought only Mookie and Freddie getting injured could have been worse than Gavin, because I was that high on him. I just think he needs to gain a little bit of confidence back. He's got the confidence in his knee because he's playing second base really well. He's running the bases when he gets on. Yeah.
Just need him on base a little more often.
Yeah. He just needs to swing a bat and feel like a good rip to left center. Maybe the ball leave the yard. He just needs to feel something. Hurt him a little bit to make him feel
it takes one good feeling to ride you through the rest of the season. That's all this team really needs. And they have some other options down at AAA. I was trying to remember. I looked it up right now because I did see somebody on the AAA roster that is showing up and showing out. There's a couple of guys. I do want to shout out Cody Hosey, who all of a sudden maybe coming back to life because he was going to be maybe a third baseman of the future for a little bit, but then fell off the face of the fucking planet. But all of a sudden, he's back at AAA, posting a 920 OPS, looking pretty damn good. Another guy, though, another one of those Dodgers trades, Andre Lipsius, doing pretty damn good at AAA, and he's somebody that can play second, can play third, 2 spots. His team could use a little bit of help because, hey, maybe if you do go let's give Lux some time option or that angle, Lipsius can play third base, and maybe Max Muncy could play second base, which is a position he's noted he is far more comfortable at. But we know we can go on and on when it comes to Gavin Lux. I want the kid to figure it out. And everybody does because he's an important, very, very important part of this team. I agree also with your take there that last year when that injury happened, that was massively devastating to this team. The fact that they're able to pull 100 wins out of their ass was impressive, and ultimately it led to this path now, this timeline now where Mookie Betts is an infielder and no longer a Gold Glove right fielder, kind of because of that. But there's your good. Crapping all over.
Yeah, man, that was the good, guys. Just remember, that was the good.
Poor Lux.
Just, I know.
But let's talk about some of the bad, or we'll get through the bad a little bit quicker because it's pretty obvious and we're already talking a lot through it. But I did talk about this one a whole bunch earlier on my Dodgers Territory show. I co-host with Alana Rizzo on the Foul Territory Network. Check it out every Monday and Thursday on Foul Territory, 12 p.m. Pacific time live. But Shohei has struggled. Mr. Shohei Ohtani has struggled with runners in scoring position. He's 1 for 21, 4 strikeouts in that position. I said, because Dave Roberts said the team might kind of talk to him about maybe changing the approach a little bit, maybe getting deeper into it at bat, making the pitcher work. I said earlier, I think that's a terrible idea because you don't tell somebody that's posting an OPS over 1,000 and hitting over 340 to change their approach. The RBI will come for Shohei Ohtani. He has always produced with runners in scoring position over his career. There's a lot going on in the dude's life, we will say. New team, new interpreter, new life, new wife, who dis. But I want to know, give me your take, give me your thoughts on the Ohtani situation. Are you okay with them maybe being like, it's okay to go to a 2-2 count? Are you more inclined to just let Ohtani do what he's enjoying doing right now, and that's going up there and just letting it fly?
Okay, so I posted this on Twitter a couple nights ago because there's a lot of discourse about this. Back to, I don't remember, it's 4, 3, 2, 1, 2019. So back to 2019. Yeah. 2, 3, 4. Back to 2018. Ohtani's WRC plus with runners on base reads really well. It's 201, 128, 62 in 2020, albeit 184 in 2021, 211, 163. Now it's a negative 71 WRC plus this year. Oof. My point being, the dude produces. Whatever his approach is, he'll figure it out. He's clearly figured out, like, a 211 WRC plus 2 years ago. He's 200% better than the average Major League Baseball player in that category with runners in scoring position. I don't know what they want to change. Maybe it helps. I don't know. I wouldn't touch it. I think part of it is he's got a lot going on. He's got a new club. His best friend just tried to rob him of $16 million.
Not tried, did, but
yeah. Well, I would like to believe maybe he gets them back in reparations. Who knows? He's had a ton going on.
Leave it. I'm gonna leave it.
Yeah, just let him be. Let the guy be. He'll figure it out. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's tweaked right now.
Yeah,
a little bit of armor all, like a magnet, just kind of pull out, you know, some of the metal work. It'll be fine.
He's scoring runs. He's getting on base. He's got an OPS over 1,000. There's nothing wrong with Shohei Ohtani. He will. The laws of averages, like I said earlier on the other show, the laws of averages baseball averages will come into play. He will be plenty fine. And it's not just limited to Shohei Bartholomew Ohtani. We could also look at the team-wide epidemic of struggles with runners in scoring position, because after an 0 for 7 yesterday, they are batting under 250 with runners in scoring position through their first 21 games, 19th in the bigs this year so far. And that kind of takes into the idea of mid. This has been a mid start to the season thus far. Strikeouts, also very concerning. 57 strikeouts with runners in scoring position, which is the most in baseball. And if we're looking at a lot of the struggles for this team, we look at the offense coming from the outfield. Really, the offense coming from everybody not named Teoscar Hernandez, but we will lump him into there at this point. If we're looking at the outfield offense, they are slashing 193, 262, 314. That is awful. It is paltry. Left field gets worse, guys. I'll start in center field, where it's mostly James Outman, hitting 178 with a 288 slug, 250 on base. But left field, 087, 0.087 out of your left fielders. That is not good. I think even Ipe would have not bet on that one. I should probably stop making the Ipe jokes, but I can't help
It'll never
myself.
happen.
I can't help myself.
Not for this year.
I'm sorry. It's easy. It's easy money, if you will. Just bump me 200. But there is a massive problem there, and that leads to Shohei maybe not getting as many opportunities with runners in base, so he can't practice that. But yeah, if we're talking about your left fielder and your right fielder in your lineup, so really it's your 7 and your 8 for the most part for this team, not in the lineup or not producing in the lineup, not getting on base for much of anything, you're going to have a lot of the problems this team's seeing. You're going to have a lot of problem with runners in scoring position because those guys are striking out a whole bunch. Same with, I didn't look up the numbers, but Max Muncy, I don't know if you have him offhand. I don't know how he's producing with runners in scoring position.
Oh, with RISP?
Does feel like he struggles. He's striking out a whole bunch when runners are on. But clearly the numbers say it is a problem for this team. There's no fix. I mean, the only fix is if you find a way to improve left field and center. I'm sure that will kind of solidify some things. Also, the production at second base, just talking a whole bunch of lucks. Second base, that problem is there as well. But you got Muncy numbers?
Muncy numbers. So with RISP, he's batting 207, OBP of 242, and a slug of 310 for an OPS of 553. Not great. That's in 29 at-bats with 13 strikeouts. It's not been good. You're right. And it kind of feels the same as it has the last, actually ever since he had that horrific injury against the Brewers back in 21. It doesn't feel like he pulls the ball as well as he used to, because he used to be able to kind of gap to gap it a little bit. By gap to gap, I mean he used to be able to hit it down the right field line and then towards the center fielder. But it looks like the only time he gets a double at this point, it has to go down right field and carom around in the outfield. Otherwise, that dude lands on first. And then other than that, it's got to be a home run. It's like he's pull or nothing. It feels that way. I don't have the stats to back that one up. It's just that, that's very anecdotal. But you're right. With runners in scoring position, he's not producing that well, and he's not walking either. And that's kind of been the big takeaway from at least watching Max Muncy at bats or listening to it. If you listening to AM 570. He doesn't take his walks. He's expanding the zone again. His strikeout rate's larger than it's been his entire career. And he's still
producing though.
Yeah.
OPS is good. OPS plus is good. To even get him at 249, his average is 249. You're not going to get too much better out of Muncy. Maybe a 263 hitter. That's about what you get out of Max. But, you want to see a little bit more pop, but that will possibly come with more strikeouts. I don't know. I'm not terribly mad with what I'm seeing out of Max. You do want to see the strikeouts come down, but still the production is there, being 31% better than average. And your average, 4A or AAA player, that's what you're looking for. Maxwell Bartholomew Muncy is not the problem. Okay. Everybody is Bartholomew today.
Steven, his middle name's Steven. Also, to call back, Shohei also doesn't have a listed middle name. Neither does Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Wow.
Just throwing that out there.
Well, you got a middle name?
Patrick.
Oh.
Yeah, my dad wanted to give me a strong Irish name, so I got the good old Kevin Patrick.
I think I used to have like a reveal button, but I got instead
fitting for an Irish Catholic.
Yes. James, middle name James here, guys, and this is we're well past the middle of the show. I had more things to talk about when it comes to mid, but we kind of encompassed everything really there. We talked some Freddie Freeman. I don't really feel like talking about Dodgers pitching right now outside of praising Michael Bush, Michael Bush. Well, we did him too, but Michael Grove. That's all I got. You guys know the pitching is struggling, but there's people that are hurt. Walker Buehler is making a start tonight, another rehab start. So, guys, hit that thumbs up button for a Walker Buehler rehabilitation start. Could be his last one. I hope it's not his last one. I think they should give him one more, and then he comes back and starts at home against the Braves to open the month of May. But we know this team is kind of hurting when it comes to healthy pitching. But yeah, guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you are not subscribed to the channel. Those really help out the channel. We're trying to get to 7,000 subscribers. I will note I did move it down in the rundown because I feel like the top of the show is so stacked with things that I talk about. I didn't want to do that, but I will tell you, if you guys are looking for a different way to support the channel, support me, help support Kevin a little bit, and independent baseball coverage, I do have a Patreon page for the channel, patreon.com/realfrg. Currently, if you buy one of the options, you can get welcome into our Discord server, which is still growing, but we're having fun talking in there. Kevin is doing things in there that might be really, really cool in the coming days and coming weeks, so check that out. And you also get access to the voicemail hotline, where you can call in and be a part of Monday Overreactions that happen every Monday that I decide to go live stream. And I will note again, if you haven't heard enough of me, co-host Dodgers Territory with Milano Rizzo every Monday and Thursday on the Foul Territory Network. The links are in the description. But now, talked around this in so many ways. We teased it very early in the show. There were people talking about it. So, guys, I want you to engage in the comments. Should the Dodgers shake up the lineup to help up this offense? The offense is not exactly firing on all cylinders at the moment. Hasn't really been firing on all cylinders all season long, but should they consider shaking up the lineup to spark something? Talked a whole bunch about Mookie Betts so far already in the stream, arguably getting the least to work with when it comes to runners in scoring position. It only has 15 plate appearances, and my God, is he capitalizing. 8 hits, 2 walks, 615 batting average with runners in scoring position. Maybe it's not even moving him out of that first spot. Maybe it's making him your number 3 hitter. I don't know. Shohei has led off in his career, but that is drastic. Kevin, when I pitched this idea yesterday or 2 days ago, you hated the idea. Have you grown to like it yet?
No, absolutely not.
Well, screw you then.
There was a lot of talk about, like, how do you bat Mookie, Shohei, and Freddie? And my stance was always, well, just like that. You bat them, Mookie, Shohei, Freddie.
Yeah.
Mostly because Mookie's numbers are at best when he's batting leadoff. He's like a mid 900s OPS. It drops drastically to the 800s, drastically being, still all-star level numbers when he goes like the further and further down the lineup. Shohei's are really bizarre. He has a good leadoff number, but then he has like a 1.2 OPS when batting second and then an 800 OPS when batting third. So clearly he's most comfortable batting second.
Yeah.
The quirky one is Freddie. Freddie bats best in the 2-hole. I think his is like a low 900s. Or like a mid 900s, and then it drops about 0.03%. So we're talking like low 900s, low 8 or high 800s, batting third. The quirky part about that is he batted the most with the Braves third. So he had like 1,200 at bats with the Braves, batting third, and then he came over to the Dodgers. You're like, hey, yeah, bat second, or no. Yeah, bat second.
Yeah,
and
anybody wearing number 5 on their back, bat second. That's the
exactly.
law. That's what we established with Corey Seager.
We did. But then they had Trey Turner as well, who they also tried to bat second at points. So they kind of, switched them around depending, I think, on like handedness off pitching. So his drops a little bit to the, like when you go down batting third. Ultimately, I land on, there's no wrong answer. They're all incredible at the top 1, 2, and 3. They just need to agree on it. If Freddie's cool hitting third, Shohei's obviously at best hitting second with the 1.2. He has the best OPS of all 3 of them in that spot. And then, I don't think Mookie wants to bat anywhere but first. If they're fine with that, then let them be fine with that. There's no wrong answer.
Well, we heard last year from Mookie that he's open to moving out of that number 1 hole, but also the same way where I talk about, Otani, you don't need to try to change anything. He's performing quite well, as his average and OPS would tell you. Why would you try to change things to, manufacture runners in scoring position, which is just an arbitrary setup, and you're going to get your hits either way. The law of averages, yada, yada. He's going to figure it out. Yeah. But why would you that same voice and that same token, moving Mookie out of that leadoff spot where he's hitting almost 370 OPS, whatever it is, 1200, like to move somebody who's performing so well out of that spot. It's kind of absurd. However, it's starting to look like it maybe makes a little bit of sense if you're trying to just shake up the lineup for the fun of it. And again, in the practice here, in the spirit of the conversation starter here and the question of shaking up the lineup to spark something that would shake it up, whether or not it sparks, TBD. You really want to do it, just screw with everybody. Gavin Lux lead off.
Gavin Lux, honestly,
throw him to the wolves.
If you told me that a year ago, I'd have been like, yes, back Gavin Lux first, because that guy's got like a 380 low 400s OBP. And I'm so here for Gavin Lux batting first. If you told me that a year ago, right now, maybe not so much. If you want to shake up the lineup with these guys, just tell them to swing first pitch. A lot of a lot of what Shohei does.
Yeah.
And just see what happens. I wouldn't touch the first 5. I'd leave, Smith batting 4th. I'd leave Teoscar batting 5th, or Max Muncy, whoever you want in the 5 hole. It's the 7, 8, 9 that, and they are shaking it up. They brought up Andy Pages. That is the big shakeup.
Yeah,
it is
massively shook up.
Yeah, and they have the runway for it. If you want to shake it up further, I don't know, you send Lux down and bring up somebody else, or you trade Lux away. I don't want to get into that. I don't think
that's not going to happen. I think it's
trade
values at the lowest here. People in the chat are going off about this. Of course, saw Man 5 Dodge love this point. It's like, does Mookie have to adjust for everything and really everybody? The only thing I asked him to do next, like move to the booth. I mean, he's doing that with that.
But he's not
podcast.
Adjusting batting leadoff. That's where he wants to be. He said that before.
The numbers show he's very, very good at that. Ray Barrios says at this rate, Shohei is not going to win an MVP with 65 runs batted in. No, I mean, but going to figure it out. I will say Mookie or Freddie, what's his name? Shohei ends the season with 98 RBI. That's what I decided. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Peter, our friend Peter Pondam says, why not swap Mookie and Otani? You got left, right, left, first 3 to start. And it's not like Otani can't run. Well, you would have left, right still if Freddie is there. Oh wait, no, that's right. Okay, for some reason I was thinking Freddie was in that mix. I don't hate Shohei leading off, but I think both of these guys are just so good in their spot. And a problem that we're dealing with right now is that, I didn't want to admit it in Monday's show, or I think even last week we were kind of starting to talk about it a little bit, but I should admit Freddie Freeman he's in a slump. He's in a little bit of a slump. He's 2 for 17. Sorry, we were talking about it when we were hanging out on Discord earlier this week. 2 for 17. That's not very Freddie Freeman-like. The average plummets all the way down into the 280s. I think we can call it officially a slump, but Freddie's going to be fine. Freddie will figure it out. What you need to happen is James Outman to figure it out, Gavin Lux to figure it out, and any of the now trio of Pages or Kike Hernandez or Chris Taylor to figure it out. I'd put my money on Pages in that kind of trio there.
But before we move off this topic, I just want to point this out. So Mookie batting leadoff is a 919 OPS. He drops to 877 batting second. He drops to an 801 batting third, and that's granted not a ton, but that's at 279 plate appearances batting third. Shohei, relatively equal batting second and third. He has almost a 250 point higher OPS batting second. He's a 1.015 batting second, 897 batting first, 856 batting third. And then if you look at Freddie Freeman, he has a 944 batting second, where he has 1635 plate appearances. And then he has a 903 batting third, where he has 5,102 plate appearances. The dude is hit in the 3-hole, by and large, in his career. He will figure it out. I have no issue with saying Freddie Freeman, of all hitters in Major League Baseball, will figure it out.
That is what he does. We saw it firsthand against the Dodgers a number of times when the Dodgers and the Braves were playing each other a whole bunch in the league championship series. I remember that one game in 21 where he started. I think he was like 0 for his first 2 games, and then I was talking to a buddy about it, and I was like, "This he's going to start just dropping a couple over shortstop, and then he's going to take off." He has a 3-hit game, everything going to left field, and once you see Freddie Freeman starting to do that again, line drives just in front of the left fielder, he is not back. He is all the way back.
Yeah.
Jenny Vega would like to see Teoscar Hernandez in a more advantageous position in the lineup because she has him on her fantasy baseball team. And I think if anybody should do anything for anybody, it should be Dave Roberts moving Teoscar Hernandez specifically for Jenny Vega because she's nice to us.
That's all.
That's all. Yeah, that's all you really
Hey,
need.
she's nice to us. Just, that's a break once in a while.
When I was doing a bunch of like the numbery things today, as I don't know in the chat says, how did Barnes become a far superior player to CT3? It's one of those things. I don't even want to talk about Austin. I think if you do, like
it's the boogeyman.
Yeah, it just goes away. Like we got to be like, shh, everybody just.
It's like a fart in the wind.
Shh.
As
But one of the things
the warden would say.
That's the warden. One of the things I was surprised about or a little shocked at when I was looking at some of the numbers today, just really looking at like high level WAR, like team WAR, player WAR, or whatever. Will Smith getting no love on wins above replacement so far, even though he's hitting in the high 300s or whatever. For some reason, the early defensive metrics not coming back friendly towards Will Smith. I don't want to talk about that too much. I just want to throw it out there. Baseball Reference, fix yourself because Will good. Will good.
Will good. Actually, I'm really curious.
Will good. I should push this here because they're telling me again, guys, subscribe. I got to keep telling you to subscribe until we get to 7,000 subscribers because I think that's how it works. That's how we get there. You just keep telling people, and then they feel bad about you.
They have BRF has Austin Barnes, and Will Smith is the same WAR at 0.2.
You got like really really top loaded, like the first 4 or 5. 1+, and then everybody's just kind of a little bit of a struggle.
Adley's at 0.5. That's crazy to me. With a 105 OPS plus, I get. Oh, what
defense? It really loves defense.
And
man.
Will Smith has a 131 OPS plus, and he has half of the WAR of Adley Rutsch.
It's all on defense. Yeah, again, it's something a little off. Maybe the law of baseball ref averages will kind of figure themselves out. But guys, before we hit that wrap it up button, as we're having a long, fun show, appreciate you guys hanging out with us so far. Let's talk a little bit about what's coming up. Let's look ahead. Come meet the Mets. Come greet the Mets. The Dodgers go to New York to play the New York Mets, those high-powered, high-priced New York Mets who are on a pretty good tear. I think they've won. I had the numbers somewhere. The
Mets are in Los Angeles, by the way.
Oh, is it that way? They're staying home?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I thought
they had an off day, and they get to stay home. This is crazy, isn't it?
I've been way off this whole time. I was expecting early starts. I was trying to prepare my life around that. But, hey, well, I guess Mets come meet the Dodgers are coming here to L.A., breaking news for everybody involved, but it's gonna be one of those series with a bunch of no-name pitchers, kind of in my opinion. I know Adrian Hauser's got some love in there. Lefty Sean Manaea, who does not have the hair anymore. He's been pretty decent, I think, since to start the year, or am I way off on that? I did very little research on this Mets series.
So Sean Manaea has had a good start the season. It's one of those weird things where it depends on who you're asking and how you think of the teams he's pitched against, because he's pitched against Detroit, Cincinnati, and the Royals.
Oh, there it is. Well, I mean, Cincy
could be good. Who knows? They could also just fall off the face of the cliff like they did last year. Detroit could do the same thing. The Royals, people are pretty high on this year. He did by far and away the worst against the Royals, giving up 6 runs. But it depends on who you're asking. The Mets have had a weird schedule. They are hot. That being said, they started 0-5. They've been 10-3.
Yeah.
They allowed more than 4 runs once, and that was against the Braves in that 10-3 stretch. but I don't think the Braves were pitching anyone that day, like in particular. Like, so
none of their happy,
Yeah.
healthy living players.
It wasn't Spencer Strider pre-elbow falling off.
Hate it when that happens.
The big one is Jose Butto, who the Dodgers are going to see. He's only given up 1 earned run in 12 innings pitched. He throws with his right arm.
That's
so
important
That's good for the Dodgers.
That's important.
So we'll see if maybe the Dodgers can do something with that. But I think the real strength is their bullpen's only has a 2.97 ERA. Edwin Diaz looks like Edwin Diaz. So if this game is even remotely close in the 9th inning, or God forbid the Nets are
There's a whole different team.
Yeah. But if the Mets are up in the 9th inning,
it's just going to be slider. Dodgers
and
lose.
Then
we get
99 up at your face.
So you got Yoshinobu Yamamoto making start number 5 on the season tomorrow against Manea. That's probably your best bet to win a game, I feel. Gavin Stone coming off of his arguably best start of his career. I think he's going Saturday. None of this is set.
I was gonna say, isn't Dodgers star pitcher TBD pitching?
Yeah. We got back-to-back days TBD is going, but it should presumably be Stone and Paxton. You heard it here from me first, folks, but if not, then I was lying.
You didn't hear from us.
Then you didn't. Then you heard it from Doug or something like that. But and then James Paxton, who needs a win after walking 8 batters in 5 innings and looking like he was really going to piss off a lot of Dodger fans, and kind of he didn't start this problem. He certainly, which is like a shirt, and certainly did not help. And we know the Mets have got some firepower. They're a little stacked. You got Pete Alonso having a solid year. He's having he's been a little bit more on fire of late. Still got Francisco Lindor there. Brett Beatty at third base has been.
He just recently called them back up again, I think.
Have they? I thought he's been starting the entire year for the most part. Even Brett. So, he's good. He's been good. They got their powerhouse catcher or whatever, the last year's #1 prospect or whatever he was.
Alvarez.
It's a good-looking team, and it's another challenge for the Dodgers. But still, I feel a lot better about this series than I did with the Nationals. I think having that day off, and all of a sudden, Major League Baseball moving the series back to LA during this show. Dumbass. That's totally on me, guys. But anyways, how do you feel about the show before we get out of here? Or that not the show, but that series.
No, the show's great. I'm really liking it.
I mean, tailed off here, and I should have just skipped the Mets, but
no, I feel a lot better about the Mets than I did. I think it was the Padres a week ago, or the Cubs a week ago, where I said they win 1 and 2. Maybe the day off helps. I'll go crazy. I think they sweep the Mets. I think the pitching gets it together. I mean, maybe the Mets are just NL Central merchants, in this run.
Taking advantage.
Beating the Braves 2 out of 3. Anybody can do that. Who cares? You played the Royals,
I got this.
Pirates, and the Reds. Yeah, I could do that. I'll go crazy and say they sweep the Mets. I do like Yamamoto against them. I think TBD has an average showing, and maybe the bullpen continues its strong start. I do think the bats figure something out. What it is, I don't know. There's no way they can sustain this for as long as they are. They're too talented a group to do that.
So I'm going to go out on a limb. Clearly, this limb has got to be an extremely strong limb if I'm going out on it right now. I do feel good about this series. I think perfectly timed off day. Again, remaining at home. So you have an off day at home, your first real time to kind of like,
yeah.
That's the first time they've had that since, March 13th, which was their last day in Arizona. They had a lot of exhale days then, and then it just went to shit. I'm going to say Dodgers sweep.
Yep. Same. There we go.
Got it.
You heard it here first.
You heard it
here.
We
got a sweep.
We got sweep. Craig is saying 2 out of 3. I'm assuming being on the Dodgers side. Right field pavilion in the chat saying he said the Dodgers would sweep the Nats. How wrong we were. Listen, they're supposed to, so there's nothing wrong with that. Matty Man 5 Dodge also has 2 of 3 for the Dodgers. Jenny Vega doesn't like to do predictions. She doesn't like to jinx, and that is very, very fair.
Respect that.
Yeah, we got sweep. Nora Ortega's on board. Joe Mama says 2 or 3. Hey, 2 of 3, I'll take that. That's like almost sweep. That's what I'm going. You didn't finish the last room. You're saving that tomorrow. It's corporate work. Save yourself something for the next day, so it looks like you're working hard. But guys, hopefully this wasn't a hard show to survive through. Had some fun talking about your Los Angeles Dodgers on an off day. We always appreciate a Thirsty Thursday. Cheers to you guys. It's not a Modelo Monday, but I still had one, and it was yummy. That guy is out of Tom Collins, so he's got to get back to the bar where he's clearly. I brought aboard a raging alky, but even so, if you guys didn't watch today's edition of Dodgers Territory, check it out. We welcomed Jeff Spiegel, my friend from Dodger Blue 1958. Alana and I welcome him. We talk a whole bunch of Dodger baseball there, including a bunch of Chris Taylor stuff. And I asked Jeff Spiegel, point blank, is it time to fire Dave Roberts? Because that's where the chat was going. We're having fun with that. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for subscribing. If you did, it's a good time to hit that subscribe button, by the way, on the way out. Trying to get to 7,000 subscribers. Go ahead and do that. Thank you for the great questions, comments. Thank you so damn much for the super chats, for those that threw them our way. Shout out to producer Kevin for doing the things that he does, which are talking while I don't have to talk the entire time. That is much appreciated, and bringing good stuff to the show as always. I got his first congratulatory, I guess, super chat, so that's cool.
Sure.
If you're looking for a different way, a reminder, if you're looking for a different way to support us, patreon.com/realfrg. You get a couple of perks in there. Check it out if you'd like. If you wouldn't like, cool. We appreciate you either way. Thank you, Jenny, for dropping the link in the chat there. That's about it. See you guys on Monday, unless it's before. Okay, bye.